Hey folks, this is Rhykker with a Diablo 3 Season 14 Necromancer Starter Build Guide. Now the starter set that you get in Season 14 through Haedrig's gift for the Necromancer is the Pestilence set. We have a full Pestilence guide video over here. That's for when you have the full 6-piece set and you're looking to build towards a greater rift pushing build as well as a speed build. But in this video, we'll go over a build that you can run before you get that 6-piece bonus. A build that you can use to farm up your 6-piece bonus. At the start of every season, you get something called a season journey, and by completing certain objectives along that season journey, you unlock 2 pieces of Pestilence, and then 4 pieces of Pestilence, and finally 6 pieces. So we'll go through the builds that you can use to get those objectives done, culminating in the final most difficult one, which is a solo GR20. What you're seeing me do in this video is a solo GR20 with this build, and I have done my best to emulate the conditions of a fresh level 70 character. I have no Paragon points applied, I have suboptimal gear, I have no legendary gems, I have nothing useful in my cube, and the regular gems in my gear are just marquees. And despite all that, I was able to easily clear a GR20 and smash through all previous objectives. So let's start by taking a look at the skills. We'll start by needing a generator. Bone Spike's sudden impact is a strong choice. I like to be able to keep my distance from enemies, and Bone Spikes is a good ranged generator, plus that stun effect really helps with survivability. And we're going to need to generate that essence for our main damage dealer, Skeletal Mage Singularity. Singularity makes you spend every single point of essence that you have to spawn a single mage that is more powerful for every point of essence that you've spent. Now at its base effect, the Skeletal Mage only lasts 6 seconds. So while ideally you do want to wait to have max essence to pop the most powerful Skeletal Mage possible, sometimes you just want to make sure you have a Skeletal Mage out, so even if you have to pop it at say 50-60% essence, do it just to be able to deal some damage. Now to help us regain that essence, we're going to have Devour Cannibalize. This gives us essence and it also gives us back life. We'll want to be spamming this constantly. Also to help with the essence generation, we'll have Command Golem, Flesh Golem. This synergizes well with Devour. When you reach an elite pack, you're gonna spawn a Skeletal Mage, you're gonna pop your Command Golem, and then with Devour, you're gonna regain a bunch of essence and be able to pop almost instantly another full power Skeletal Mage. Next we'll want to take Bone Armor. This gives us a nice defensive buff that lasts 60 seconds, and the Harvest of Anguish rune will help our move speed. At low level, we don't have a lot of gear, we don't have a lot of Paragon points, so our move speed isn't quite capped. This rune will help us move a little bit faster. Now the great thing about Bone Armor is that it lasts 60 seconds, but it's on a 10-second cooldown. You can have a maximum of 10 stacks. And the best part is that to refresh those 10 stacks, you just have to hit a single enemy. You don't have to hit 10 enemies. So once this power goes up, it should basically never come down again. Then lastly, we'll be taking Blood Rush. This is a fantastic mobility skill. It helps you move faster, but also helps you get out of tight situations. Now for the rune, you have some choices here. You can go with Transfusion if you want an added source of healing. You just want to make sure that when you blood rush, you are rushing through enemies. However, you can also go with Molting in order to leave behind an extra corpse. When combined with Devour, this will basically nullify the health cost of Blood Rush, which typically costs 5% of your health, and would also let you recover 10 essence. Then for your passives, you're going to need Overwhelming Essence. That is 40 additional essence, which translates into a ton more damage for our Singularity mages. Then we'll want Extended Servitude. This is 2 additional seconds on our Skeletal Mages. Very important for their uptime. Then we'll take Commander of the Risen Dead in order to reduce the cooldown on Command Golem by 30%. And then for even more recovery, we can take Life from Death. Anytime you consume a corpse, which will be all the time, you have a chance to spawn a health globe. Singularity mages are incredibly powerful, and with this build you should be able to smash through all your objectives to get your first Haedrig gift and your first 2 pieces of the Pestilence set. So now that you have your 2-piece bonus, let's take a look at our gear, our Pestilence set. The 2-piece bonus makes it so that every time you consume a Corpse Lance is fired at a nearby enemy, and Corpse Lance is one of the strongest skills in this game. Now the build that we present here already factored in that we would be moving towards Pestilence, so we actually don't have to make any changes to this build once you get the 2-piece bonus. The main difference is that now Devour becomes an incredible source of damage, by firing off Corpse Lances. Further, your Flesh Golem becomes even more important. Not only will it allow you to pop an additional Skeletal Mage, but also fire off 8 Corpse Lances. Once you engage those elites, you'll be bringing a lot of pain. And in order to complete your objectives to get the next Haedrig's Gift, you're gonna need that additional damage. Now at this point, changing your Blood Rush rune to the one that sheds a corpse becomes a little bit more important because now that corpse is also a source of damage. However, in my experience, it's still not really needed. Once you reach the Rift Guardian, as long as you have your Golem, you should be able to fry him in seconds. Alright, so now you've got your second Haedrig's Gift, you have 4 pieces of Pestilence. How does that change our build? Well, now, for every enemy hit with either Bone Spear, Corpse Lance, or Corpse Explosion, the amount of damage you take is reduced by 2%, up to a maximum of 50% damage reduction, which lasts 15 seconds. And again, this is something that refreshes the full stacks based on one single enemy hit. So once you've got your 50% damage reduction, as long as you are firing off a Corpse Lance at least once every 15 seconds, you maintain your full 50% damage reduction. Now this makes getting the Molting Rune on Blood Rush even more inviting, because that mobility skill has a 5-second cooldown, meaning as long as there are enemies on screen, you should be able to refresh your 4-piece defensive buff every 5 seconds. Why? Because you're leaving behind a corpse, you're gonna devour that corpse, which is gonna fire off a Corpse Lance to strike an enemy. Now at this point, there is one change you might want to make to this build beyond your Blood Rush. Let's take a look at the skills again. While it's great to have that 50% damage reduction from your 4-piece bonus, you have to build up to that damage reduction. Meaning before that point, you're rather vulnerable. And in order to get your 6-piece bonus, you have to do a Greater Rift 20 solo, which could bring a pretty big amount of pain down on yourself. So we're actually going to change our Bone Armor rune from Harvest of Anguish to Limited Immunity. This makes it so that Bone Armor only lasts 5 seconds, and it increases the cooldown to 45 seconds. This means that most of the time you will not be benefiting from your Bone Armor. However, what it does mean is that for 5 seconds you are completely invulnerable, and you don't even have to hit any enemies. So the strategy is, once you enter your Greater Rift 20, you're gonna go find some enemies, you're gonna pop your Limited Immunity, you're gonna pop your Command Golem, and you're gonna try to Corpse Lance as many enemies as possible, as quickly as possible, to build up your 50% damage reduction. Because once you have that, that far outweighs the benefits of having Bone Armor up constantly. And then beyond that, the rest of the build keeps functioning the same way. Same skills, but now you're struggling a little more. Actually, I don't even think struggling is the word. As you're seeing from the gameplay, which is probably looped by now, it was by no means a struggle to get through this GR20, but it did take me a little bit longer than the easier objectives. Now let's go back to the gear. I'll have a link in the D3 planner to the full optimized yellow gear that you'd like here. But again, I did this with unoptimized gear. Some important things that you may want include physical damage, because both your mages and your Corpse Lances will be dealing physical damage. You can get that on your amulet and your bracers. You'll want to squeeze in crit chance and crit damage wherever you can. Then on your helm and boots, you can get Skeletal Mage damage. And if you're able to, on your chest and shoulders, you can get Corpse Lance damage. But again, check out the D3 planner for the perfect yellow gear. Just note that there's no point in having Corpse Lance damage before you have the 2 pieces of Pestilence. But again, check out the D3 planner for the perfect gear. Then once you have your 6-piece bonus, you're very well positioned to move into a full-on Pestilence build. So do check out our video on that, because that's going to wrap up this video. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch and Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. If you like what you see on this channel and want to support the creation of more content, you can pledge on Patreon, where your support is immensely appreciated. As backer rewards, we have behind-the-scenes content, monthly virtual hangouts, and more. If you enjoyed this video, please share it, check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Rhykkers Raiders for more Diablo content.